This is Switzerland, the country of crystal clear lakes, the country of mountain ranges, hills, waterfalls, green alpine meadows, perfect cows, delightful milk, and shameless tourists who come to drink it, stomp the grass and stick their cameras everywhere. So, let's raise a toast to this beautiful country! You know, before the start of the video, it's normal to show you a trailer and tell what to expect from this big episode, share my general impressions of the country in an excessively emotional tone. But it's Switzerland. You don't even need any words here. Just a bunch of landscape shots and everything gets clear. Alright, Switzerland. World famous for its Alps, the best watches and most trusted banks. The air here is pristine, the tap water is basically Evian, and the views are to die for, which is what some celebrities actually did after spending their best years here. Here Dostoevsky wrote his novel Idiot, Leo Tolstoy finished his short story Lucerne, Tchaikovsky wrote the Eugene Onegin opera, and Lenin planned his revolution. Apparently, it was him who said "My soul is with you in prison in Siberia, but sadly, my body is at the hotel in Zurich." Well, then it must be true. The Swiss invented muesli, milk chocolate and LSD. They also made the Helvetica font, which I'm using right now, and which is the official font of the New York subway. And if you think that's not enough, Swiss inventions include Velcro, plastic wrap, the army knife, and a famous formula. Yep, Einstein came up with it while being in Switzerland. This also is the home of the Large Hadron Collider, which was used to discover the Higgs boson, which I can theoretically be holding right now. Not sure though. It has 4 official languages, 450 varieties of cheese, a flag that's square and not rectangular, and one of the most stable economies in the world. I think Switzerland is an almost perfect country. Just almost, because ideal country don't exist, but Switzerland is as close as it gets. Whether it's true or not, let's find out today. Speaking of emotions, the first thing you feel right after setting foot in Switzerland is unbearable tranquility. Throughout all 9 days of my trip across Switzerland, I felt like I was at one of the calmest places on earth. And those aren't the Faroe Islands with a population of 50,000. Switzerland has a population of 8.5 million people, and they live a normal life. Still, this place is extremely calm. At first, I thought it was because I mainly visited villages where life tends to flow slowly, but when I visited some big cities, it turned out to be the same. This is pure magic. Switzerland makes you instantly feel around 20 years older, so even if you're 25, you wouldn't want to rush somewhere or do extreme sports. You just want to sit on a bench, which are practically everywhere, and spend the whole day like this. Now I understand why so many celebrities and ordinary people come to Switzerland for retirement. This country is just made for relaxation and peace of your mind. You just want to sit down, gaze at this beautiful valley, and take in the view. There is a simple reason why all the things are like that. Switzerland has second highest wages in the world. The average salary is $62,283. Don't whip out your calculator, that's more than $5,100 per month. To better understand this amount, let's see how much gas you can buy for an average monthly wage in some European countries. You can buy around 230 liters in Moldova and Ukraine, 650 liters in Belarus, almost 3 times more, 1600 liters in Germany, 2100 liters in Norway, and an entire 3,240 liters in tiny Switzerland, which is enough to open a small logistics company. The Swiss economy is doing great, although just money wouldn't be enough to feel comfortable here, as security plays a big role as well. Switzerland managed to excel here too. It's one of the most neutral countries in the world by successfully distancing itself from any geopolitical alliances. Let's take a look at the map of Europe. The dark blue countries are European Union member states. Can you see that gray spot in the middle? Yeah, that's Switzerland. It's neither part of the European Union nor NATO. In fact, it is so neutral that their last war was over 200 years ago, and it was against Napoleon. It's just a miracle how a country in the middle of Europe managed to stay away from wars for 200 years. The country's landscape plays a significant role in this too. It's protected by the Alps from the south and the Jura mountains from the north, while most of the population lives on a small plateau in the middle. Yeah, Switzerland is like a hot dog squeezed into mountains, which act like a bun. And it's not the easiest country to invade. Their defense strategy relies on an enemy opening the map, taking a look at Switzerland terrain and saying, "Ah, screw it, I'll invade another country, that will be easier." Just in case, most bridges are built in such a way that they can be easily blown up remotely. The same goes for mountain passes. But the Swiss didn't stop here. Their army is pretty good as well. Switzerland is one of the last European countries to still have a mandatory draft, although two referendums actually were held to abolish it. Still, in both cases, people voted to leave it as it is. The Swiss army is approved by the Vatican, which is why the Swiss Guard is chosen to protect the Pope. You can also legally own a gun. Various statistics say half of the population has one. You can buy a musket in a cozy shop like this one. So we have a grocery store over there and a gun shop almost next to it. There are lots of these around the country. A rifle starts at around 200 euros, and you can even buy a machine gun if you have the proper budget. Interestingly, even though Swiss gun laws are quite liberal, less than 1 out of 1,000 homicides are caused by firearms. Since I'm not a Swiss resident, I can't get myself a rifle here, whereas locals don't even need a passport. A residence permit is enough to get a shotgun. It is as simple as that. And now let's talk about safety. In 1963, Switzerland passed a law that states that every local must be provided with space in a bunker in case of nuclear war. Challenge accepted. The government built bunkers across the entire country, and you are looking at the biggest one right now. Not just in Switzerland, but in the whole world. This is the Sonnenberg Tunnel that can provide long-term accommodation to 20,000 people. It's capable of withstanding a megaton explosion within 1 kilometer radius. Despite Swiss neutrality, bunkers are everywhere. Here's one at a model car park. Almost all old buildings have one, still completely ready to be used. What's captivating is that these bunkers can still shelter around 115% of the Swiss population, providing more than enough space needed. Well, now you know where to go if things hit the fan. Switzerland is oftentimes called a well-equipped bunker in the middle of Europe. And now you know why. The country's political neutrality and security measures also aid the local financial system, which is why people keep their money here. A lot of money. Statistics say there are more banks here than dentists. By the way, the interest rates in Swiss banks are zero, while if you deposit over 1 million euros, they even become negative, meaning that you pay the bank to keep your wealth safe. Now that's reliable. Swiss banknotes are pretty beautiful. They are vertical, just like Instagram stories. In 2018, the 10 Swiss franc note was recognized by the International Banknote Society as the most beautiful in the world. All of the above and the Swiss sites that we will discover soon made this place a pensioner's dream. It has the second longest life expectancy in the world after Japan, and many people wish to spend their final years in Switzerland. Celebrities moved here for it, including Nobel Prize winner Hermann Hesse, Audrey Hepburn, Vladimir Nabokov, Coco Chanel, Eric Maria Remarque and Charlie Chaplin, all of whom are buried here. By the way, euthanasia is also legal here, and this created the notion of suicide tourism, so people come here not only for vacation. As for the local pensioners, they are happy and carefree people, and I just love watching them. Switzerland is perfect for them. You feel exalted and calm in Switzerland as if you are from some glorious family. I know what I'm talking about because I'm Lord. And that's true. I received a Lord title as a gift from my friends a few years ago, and seriously, it was one of the best gifts in my entire life. You can also make such a stunning gift for yourself or for your friends, thanks to the sponsor of this video, Established Titles. It's not just a beautiful frame with vintage paper. You can officially give someone the Lord or Lady of Scotland title by getting a dedicated plot of land of Scotland. measuring from 1 to 10 square feet and immediately making a valuable contribution. Establish titles plant a tree with every order and work with global charities, one tree plant and trees for the future, to support global reforestation efforts not only in Scotland but worldwide also. So, you buy a title with your unique plot number and then you can add Lord instead of Mr. when you book your tickets and introduce yourself as a Lord, and it will be true. Established Titles is actually running an early Black Friday sale. Plus, if you use the code Anton somewhere, you get additional 10% off. Go to establishedtitles.com/Anton somewhere to get your title Lord or Lady. Oh, and the first 200 people purchasing a title pack using my link will effectively be next to my plot, within a few minutes of walking distance. Depending on how many of you want to become a lord or a lady, we can build our little Anton somewhere kingdom. And now, let's go back to the Switzerland. I needed help to better understand the local way of life, so I went to Kreuzlingen in the German part of Switzerland to talk to Stas, who has lived in this country for 7 years and knows many interesting things about it.
Были соседи у нас в Берне, по 65 лет была пара, мужчина и женщина. Они швейцарцы, обеспеченные люди, они никогда не были за пределами Швейцарии, то есть не вылетали на самолетах за пределы страны. Потому что они ездили на машине, конечно, там в Италию, в Германию, вообще очень легко, но не вылетали. Они говорят, нам не нужна соленая вода. Мы говорим, а вы не были на море? Они говорят, зачем на море? Я летом купаюсь в озере, смотрю на горы, хожу в горы пешком, а зимой я катаюсь на лыжах, а зачем мне еще что-то другое? Меня соленая вода, говорит, я не кайфую от соленой воды. Ну, меня это не вдохновляет.
В Швейцарии им хватает с головой?
Вообще хватает с головой. 65 лет, я говорю, не были нигде. Ну так. И они хорошие люди, они прикольные, и они говорят, так мы не несчастные, почему вы говорите, вы не были на море, почему вы удивляетесь? Говорит, нам этого не нужно.
I think this is because the Swiss are very used to the local way of life. And don't get me started on this, because local laws on noise are on a whole another level. To not disturb your neighbors, it's illegal to cut the lawn on weekends, wash your car with the pressure cleaner, and do anything that makes noise. Here, for example, busking is banned. Svetlana, who works for a large American company with its seat in Switzerland, will tell us more about this. Unfortunately, I can't disclose the company name, but it's a place where everything is free, and I love it.
Компания для каждого экспата, который приезжает в страну, дает такой пакет для выживания, да, и в нем была вот такая книга, которая называлась «Как жить в Швейцарии». Одно из правил, которые как бы удивляли очень сильно, то есть использовать туалет, флэш, душ после 10 часов вечера нельзя. И реакция может быть разная. Соседи могут стучать по трубам, а могут действительно позвонить в полицию.
Реально позвонить в полицию за то, что ты спустил воду в туалете?
Да. Или, например...
У тебя были такие ситуации?
Мне в полицию не звонили, нам повезло очень с соседями, но однажды я уехала на 2 недели в Нью-Йорк на съемки новой компании, и моя 15-летняя дочь умоляла не привозить бабушку и дедушку, и осталась сама. И ночью мне позвонил секретарь, сказал, что позвонили из полиции, и соседи написали письмо, что было очень шумно. А 15-летние детки играли на гитаре.
Apparently, noise laws go beyond the people.
Швейцарские собаки, например, не умеют лаять. Я не знаю, как они их воспитывают, но здесь собаки не лают. Кроме того, что здесь нет бездомных животных, но домашние, неважно, вне зависимости от породы собаки, никто не лает.
Since we were in town where the border in this pavement, I would assume it was a German dog.
Но раньше, если собака очень сильно лаяла и мешала соседям, то ей подрезали под давлением голосовых. Хочешь, не хочешь, ну типа делали операцию про подрезание голосовых связок. И зеленые сильно бунтовали по этому поводу, когда говорили, типа, какого фига. Но швейцарцы на тот момент доказали, что это никакого вреда собаке не несет, типа успокойтесь. Она гавкает, ну что, придется делать операцию.
We're now in the German part of Kreuzlingen, and it's still almost the same city, and just look at the difference. Trash bags on the streets. Everything is kind of similar, but still very different. The wildest tradition in Switzerland, though, states that everyone must pee while sitting down. Like everyone.
Писать сидя. Это правило тишины?
Нет. Писать сидя – это правило гигиены. Потому что когда писаешь стоя, в любом случае будут брызги. А когда писаешь сидя, никаких брызг нету.
Женщины это знают.
Женщины это знают. И это знают мужчины в первую очередь.
Здесь, в Швейцарии.
Здесь, швейцарские мужчины. Да.
А-
Естественно, они любят писать стоя в барах и ресторанах, но дома они писают всегда сидя.
This is Switzerland. God forbid you pee standing at home, flush the toilet, and get fined by the police. I'm not a fan of discussing Swiss politics, but it's essential for you to understand this country. Hence, I apologize in advance. Switzerland consists of 26 cantons, each with its own constitution and laws, making the country more of a federation. Officially, the country is called Confederatio Helvetica, the Swiss Confederation, an alliance of independent states. From a legal standpoint, there is no capital city here, although it's technically Bern. Each canton has its own laws, and even obtaining a driving license varies between them. For example, the canton of Geneva banned hunting, even though it's allowed in all other cantons, but not in Geneva. Turgovia banned barbecues during summer, and so on. This slightly resembles the United States of America, although the difference is extreme.
Переехать из кантона в кантон сродни переезду из Украины в Швейцарию напрямую для нас было. Это очень сложно. Надо было все документы переоформлять заново. Надо было кантонам доказывать. Кантону все равно, это одна страна, но кантон с кантонами связывается постольку-поскольку. Они знают, что имя, фамилию, что ты есть, и все. И им не важно, что ты в Берне уже интегрировался. Им не важно, что ты в Берне там заплатил кучу налогов. Нет. Им надо все по новой, о тебе знать, все по новой, чтобы ты им предоставлял все свои там дипломы, еще что-то для работы. То есть все по новой абсолютно. И мы даже, могу сказать больше, мы документов, когда переезжали из кантона в кантон, сделали больше, чем когда мы переезжали из Украины сюда.
What's most interesting is that even voting procedures may vary between cantons. These cute houses are in the tiny canton of Appenzell-Innerrhoden, which, other than for its marvelous architecture, is famous for a specific tradition. We are in the small town of Appenzell, famous for its entire population of 5,600 people, who gather on this square numerous times a year and practice direct democracy. They elect new mayors, pass new laws, call for the people assemblies, and this is how it looks. The people of Appenzell are not fans of hierarchy, and since the end of the 14th century they gathered like this and voted for the canton's political future by raising their swords. Now they do it with their hands. Appenzell is one of the kind, of course, but it's a good reflection of what's actually going on in Switzerland. There is a saying here that the Swiss vote not once in 4 years, but 4 times in 1 year. Not a joke, referendum can take place here every 2 months, and every 2 months people go to the polls on Sunday and then carry on with their business. Such involvement affects the political state incredibly well, because everyone feels their responsibility in such a society. And speaking of responsibility, Swiss laws say that you cannot keep only one social pet. It is considered isolation and equal to brutality. Hence, you cannot have just one guinea pig. You must have at least 2. The same goes for fish and parrots. Everyone needs a match. There is also a dog tax depending on the dog's size and weight. All dog owners must pass dog training to be able to care for their pets. Also, you can't just go and fish in Switzerland.
Нужен официальный паспорт. То есть ты просто не придешь, не закинешь удочку в озеро и не будешь ловить рыбу. Тебе нужно получить официальное разрешение. Месяц тебя учат, как снимать рыбу с крючка. То есть, чтобы рыбе не было больно. То есть есть ее не больно, а снять с крючка больно. И ты сидишь день в день, месяц, ну не день в день, 3 раза в неделю, в месяц. Ты ходишь на уроки, тебе говорят вот так вот, плотву так снимаете, а щуку так снимаете. Тебе дают карточку, и с этой карточкой ты можешь потом рыбачить везде. Без нее не можешь, не имеешь права.
Well, local laws may seem pretentious and strange to someone, but since the Swiss regularly make it among the happiest people, these laws definitely don't hurt. I guess now you only think about one thing. Dude, how do I become a Swiss citizen? The good news is that it is real, unlike the UAE, for example. The bad news is that, well, it's very difficult.
10 лет прожить в стране, с неважно какими видами на жительство. 10 лет. Последние 3 года нужно жить в определенной деревне или городе, не меняя место жительства. Нельзя никуда последние 3 года выезжать. И если ты захотел найти квартиру в соседней деревне, не считается, все заново. Потом ты идешь, сдаешь экзамен, который включает в себя географию, политическое устройство, кучу всего, вплоть до того, как твои соседи к тебе относятся. Они будут спрашивать у швейцарских фрау Бахман, образной, да, как он себя проявил, и что вы с ним там заметили за ним какие-то грешки или нет. И она тебе скажет, да, вдруг ты не придержал дверь 3 года назад. И она это вспомнит, и твой швейцарский паспорт накроется медным тазом. Ну, я утрирую, но так оно и бывает иногда.
There is a story that Alain Delon, who now lives in Switzerland, was very upset with the local government because he had to wait for his passport for 12 years like any other ordinary person. So even being a star won't help you. You may have noticed that I haven't really shown you around the country yet. Let's change that. Although there is a slight problem. Looking at these sites, I ran out of vocabulary, ending up with something generic. Amazing, fantastic beauty, this is unreal, I'm in awe, the classic this is just nuts, and finally, how can you leave this place? So I pulled myself together and tried to calmly describe my emotions after my first few days in Switzerland. Guys, I'll be honest with you. In the first 3 days in Switzerland, I just went nuts. I was in the middle of nowhere, I left my car in the middle of the road to feel something, promised myself to stop doing this and follow my plans, and then it happened all over again. Well, this had only happened to me in Iceland. I'm just going nuts. There is no other way to describe it. This place takes you by the scruff of your neck and doesn't let go for at least a couple of days. Firstly, it's the colors. This is the actual color of this grass. Looking at the Swiss meadows is like having the famous Windows XP wallpaper right in front of your eyes. It can be very hard to believe that these colors are real. It makes you question whether they paint the grass on purpose. But no, I have done no color grading whatsoever and I didn't play around with the situation. The same can be said about the colors of the water, which resemble a color palette from blue to teal, or even this color. These lakes are incredibly clear.
Ну потому что ты знаешь, что они били тревогу в том году, швейцарцы, что это Боденское озеро вот перед нами, да? Это самое чистое озеро мира. Ну вот, большое, самое чистое озеро мира, потому что швейцарские зеленые били тревогу в том году, и немецкие тоже, потому что они говорят, нету рыбы. Рыба не может жить, потому что очень чисто, ей нечем питаться. Нету планктона, нету... Ну то есть они бьют тревогу из-за того, что озеро чистое. Не потому что оно грязное, потому что очень чистое. Ну как? Нет, ну нету... Щука не пошла, братан, не пошла щука, нету озера.
Yep, this is Switzerland for you. Our next stop is the Swiss villages, so let's dive in. I don't really remember any names of the villages I visited, but still, they all look like they're straight out of Swiss chocolate ads. Every single village makes you stop, stroll around, stare at the toy-like houses and just take in the atmosphere. I'm now in the village of Zizikon, which I discovered yesterday while looking for a place to stay. There is a railway, a couple of hotels and an astonishing lake on the shores of this village. In the morning I woke up and couldn't believe the beauty of this place. This goes to show that every little village has a tiny hotel and sites worth coming here for. It's everywhere and it's just amazing. Calling Zizikon a town was a bit a stretch. It's a commune with around 300 people. There are even smaller villages here, like Korippo in the south. Its population is just 12 people, 11 of whom are over 65 years old. In order to revive this village, the Swiss plan to copy the Italian concept of Alberto Diffuso, turning all empty houses into the scattered hotel with top-notch service and the main reception. Such a concept has proven itself in Italy, and maybe it will work for Korippo as well, since both the village and surrounding landscapes are just incredible. Switzerland is great. Great, but expensive. Now about the downsides. Let's talk about the money you need to spend to stay in these villages. These are the rooms I stayed in. This one was $60 and had a shared bathroom. This room was around $100 and didn't have its own shower, unlike this room, which cost around $125 with a fan instead of air conditioning. My best room was in the municipality of Gottlieben, which set me back by $80 and just look at it. This place is almost 400 years old and I was strolling through it like it was a museum. I booked it a couple of hours before checking in, which probably explains the low price. Up until now, we mainly covered touristic places, and I was keen to find an authentic, secluded village.
Алло, Стас.
Stas and I are heading east to the Appenzell Alps. You happen to come across many milk farms along the way. And these cows are just the best. It's a proper cow establishment. They even receive massages. You can buy pasteurized milk via vending machines, but I was keen to try fresh milk. So we kept driving to the village of Wasserrauen.
Und dann 2 davor gibt's ein Loch.
Гениально. Мерси. Гleichfalls, мерси. Там есть дырка для нашей машины. Она говорит, там гениальная дырка как раз для вашей машины, и вам надо туда, и конкретно вот туда.
Стас, куда мы идем?
Мы идем на See Alpsee.
Что это?
Это горное озеро, в которое можно добраться только пешком. Никакая машина сюда не доедет, никакой поезд тоже сюда не доедет, только пешком. Роджер Федерер с нами бы пошел, если бы он тут был. Потому что он любит это место, и он ходит сюда. Я уже говорил об этом, да. И там есть очень такая локальная сыроварня, которая, ну, как по мне, это самый вкусный сыр в Швейцарии.
The climb was pretty steep and I was covered in sweat after 5 minutes. This damn cheese must be incredible, otherwise this is pointless. It took us an hour to get to the See Alpsee lake and the tiny village of Wasserrauen, which only has a dozen houses. On the other side of the lake, it's a breathtaking meadow which looks just like what you imagine when you think of a Swiss village in the Alps. Of course, you can also find milk here, and unlike other farms, they actually pour fresh milk for you. Well, to Switzerland!
Das ist fantastisch.
The milk is great, all thanks to these cows, surrounded by law in all its glory. They are quite curious both about the cameras and microphones, and of course the people who carry them around. Then we reached a cheese factory that Stas told me about, and although I would love to tell you a beautiful story that it's a 6th-generation family business and the cheese is made following some old recipes, but no. Meet the head of the family, who is quite young, speaks excellent English and makes cheese using today's technology and sells it right on the spot. We sweat like crazy because it's boiling hot inside, but you get the idea, right? It's a place where you have milk, and Unreal Valley is over there, absolutely no cars, no one even smokes here, crystal clear water, cows gnawing on fresh grass. This place is just perfect for cheese making, which is what they do. And they sell it on the spot. Just 2,000 kilo a year to be precise, which doesn't seem that much. The factory is actually pretty small. Well, enough of the talking, let's try it. We bought 2 types of cheese, which was quite inexpensive, and it's being sold only here. Guys, that's how you become a food blogger. God forbid, of course, but hey, I mean, it's so stupid to share my emotions. I would really like to share a little bit of cheese with you. It's tasty. I'm not a cheese expert, but it's really good. Wasserrauen is an ideal place for ecotourism, and it's highly recommended. Alright, enough with the villages, let's talk about something that the Swiss are incredible and probably one of the best at. Switzerland's massive advantage is that despite its mountainous landscapes, it's managed to develop an immense infrastructure that any country would be proud of. 2/3 of its territory is covered in mountains. As you can imagine, it's not the easiest country to move around. To be honest, it wasn't really made to move around. It boasts the highest mountain ranges, rivers and rocks. Such road infrastructure required a lot of effort, and the Swiss have succeeded. The roads are perfect, the railroads are highly developed, and all of this is nothing short of amazing. Let's dive into it in detail. More than half of Switzerland's electricity is produced by hydropower plants. The one behind me is quite small, but there are slightly bigger ones. Tiny Switzerland has over 24 dams that are over 100 meters high. It also houses the 5th largest dam in the world. It is 285 meters high. Not this one, but you are looking at the tallest rock climbing wall in the world. if you happen to have special equipment, you can get right to the top, which is 165 meters high. The Swiss have excelled here as well. This suspension bridge is not the longest, spanning over 200 meters only. It's still quite a challenge to cross it. Switzerland is the land of tunnels. They are just everywhere. You drive out of one and then enter another one, then another one more, and so on. It honestly feels like the Swiss build these tunnels out of habit. You get tunnels even in places where you can easily do without one. But since they're good at it, let's make another one, why not? The country is full of long tunnels. The Gotthard Road tunnel is the longest in Switzerland, nearly 17 kilometers long. That's crazy. At the time of construction, in the 80s, it was the longest tunnel in the world. Now it's the 9th longest, but still 17 damn kilometers through rocks. Let's drive through this tunnel together just so that you can get an idea of how long it is. Although I'll speed up a little. This is the entrance, and let's go. Well, it may take us some time to watch this at the current speed, so let's speed up it a little more. Let's go in faster. Well, that was pretty long. It took me around 15 minutes to go through it. To be honest, it's a bit of a tiring. Still, this wasn't enough for the Swiss, and they built the longest rail tunnel in the world, the Gotthard Base Tunnel, which spans over an incredible 57 kilometers. It goes straight through the Alps. It took 70 years to build, costing $12 billion. The Gotthard Tunnel is not only the longest, but also the deepest since, well, it was built under the Alps. At peak points, it is 2.5 kilometers deep, and without proper ventilation, temperature inside would reach 45 degrees Celsius. Thanks to this tunnel, travel time from Zurich to Milan got cut by an hour. And now, time for my favorite topic. One of the reasons why you should pick up a car in Switzerland over anything else is the roads. You know how much I like mountain passes. Switzerland has many of them, and also the highest one I've ever been to. It's called Furka Pass. Well, let's see what these roads got in store. I think it's one of the most popular European roads, as people come here from all over Europe, so the road can sometimes be congested. Still, these incredible views make up for everything in full. I'm as slow as a sloth here. I'm stopping at every turn thinking that this is the last time, then I go a little further and the views gets even better, and I'm like, damn. It took me an hour and a half to reach the road's peak at 2,431 meters. Petrolheads would definitely love it here, because apart from usual supercars, it's like an expo of rare cars. This 1981 Alfa Romeo is in mint condition. The Furka Pass can be crossed by car and by an old-school train. Built in 1914, the train is fully original, including the driver. And of course, it runs on coal. The cherry on the cake is that there is another very special place after the Furka Pass – the Rhone Glacier. What's cool about this glacier is that you can not only look at it, walk on top of it, but also get inside of it. The ice on top is quite thin, and as the clouds cover the sun, the light in this ice cave starts to change, as if someone controls it. The sights inside the cave are influencer's dream. As for the Furka Pass, it is 10 out of 10, and I definitely recommend it. Just roads are not enough, so the Swiss built dozens of funiculars. Some are pretty exotic, like this Gelmer funicular, the best of its kind in Europe. Built to transport construction materials, it now slowly pushes visitor up to the altitude of 1,860 meters above sea level. Speed-up footage of the descent can easily compete with the feeling that a good roller coaster gives you. Apparently, the Swiss also build the best traditional funiculars in the world. So if you ever go skiing, it will most probably be the Doppelmayr funicular taking you up. Recently, this company has built a pretty unusual funicular, so I wanted to check it out. But in order to get it, you first need to jump on this old guy. Local drivers here look so vibrant that they could easily earn good money by performing as Santa Clauses. It takes around 15 minutes to go up in this wooden car, and here it is, the first ever Cabrio funicular. Yep, there is no roof, allowing Chinese tourists to take pictures without any glass in the way, and there is definitely enough to take photos of. You know, the Cabrio funicular is a genius invention of humankind. I think they should all be like this from now on. Completely different emotions. It's like... Ouch! My ears are popping. Funiculars can be found in many Swiss mountains. This one overlooks Lucerne and allows you to listen to a tourist blowing a horn. There isn't really much to do on top, and people come here solely for this unique funicular. A return ticket will cost you around 80 bucks. That's if you park your car correctly, but if you are like me, it may be a bit more expensive. Guys, even a Swiss fine looks nice and pretty. It's even wrapped up in plastic. Actually, I knew I would get fined because I didn't have enough change and the train was leaving already, so I didn't have much time. 40 francs. Well, now I need to figure out where to pay for it. You can pay fines at any post office. You get a number, queue up, complete the form, withdraw some cash because cards are not accepted, pay, and receive a paper that states that you're not a felon. With a clean conscience and somewhat emptier pockets, we proceed further. All there is left to tell you is about the most technological and beautiful part of transportation – the trains. Trains are one of the country's symbols, and their precision is comparable to Swiss watches, and they run very often. To give you an idea, you can go from the remotest village in the west to the farthest one in the east once every 20 minutes. Most trains are equipped with the children's carriages, so that if your kids will be screaming, which they probably will, they won't disturb other passengers. This is Switzerland after all. Of course, these trains are one of the most expensive in the world, that's no surprise. A ticket from Zurich to Bern, which is a 100-kilometer distance, costs around 47 euros. The best part about the railroad, though, is the notched lifts that helps the train to tackle steep inclines, which means that Swiss trains operate even in the mountains, offering jaw-dropping use. And now, as I promised, this is the most beautiful Swiss bridge, the Landwasser Viaduct. And once your train rolls onto it, you feel like a part of a Harry Potter film set. Actually, I could watch this forever, as if you're watching a toy railroad that you're just put together. Now, I was eager to get on this train instead of just looking at it. I was off to probably the most beautiful village in Switzerland. I left my car there and bought a ticket to Wengen. Windows do open here, of course, as most people get on this train just to enjoy the view. I think we can leave my comments out and just take in the views.
Slept all night on a big white ship. Seagulls were dancing all around. I woke up with a sunrise on the sea. Such a precious gift to me. The salty breeze and the waves, the slow pace. The salty breeze and the waves. No matter where I play.
I was so taken away by the views that I was nearly at the train's termination. When a ticket officer saw my ticket, he told me that I can't go here. Showed me a table with fines and that it was 90 Swiss franc. I said that I'll pay for it, to which he replied that he won't let me and help me to get on the train back. That's the Swiss ticket officers for you. Although I was happy to pay the fine, he just didn't let me.
Yesterday we followed the road of the moon. We drove all day towards the coast. It remembered me, the beauty of this life. Such a feeling to be alive. The salty breeze in my lungs. And back to where I'm.
These trains are just hypnotic. It's like an amusement park where you watch a movie in 4K, 8K or even a high resolution that hasn't been invented yet. Well, it's time to show you the most fabulous village in the whole of Switzerland. Meet Lauterbrunen. What you see now is the Middle Earth from Lord of the Rings. John Tolkien, the book author, came up with the land of elves after visiting this village, leaving an unforgettable impression on him. And really, it's hard to believe that this place exists in real life. It's pure magic that came from a fantasy book. And again, since we're talking about celebrities, let me show you a bunch of places related to famous people who used to live here. First, let's take a look at the Saint-Germain mansion, located in the French part of the country. It is home to a museum dedicated to Hans Rudi Giger, who came up with and painted the Alien. Ridley Scott, director of the Alien, came across Hans' book called Necronomicon and found what he was looking for. Giger made the first alien prototype out of branches and something else. To be precise, meat, condoms and slime. Of course, it's interesting what was going through Hans' head when he was coming up with the Alien, and how a person living in such well-off country like Switzerland could possibly think of such monster. Next is the Corsier-sur-Vevey cemetery, home to Charlie Chaplin and his wife Una Graves. Not many of you may know that Chaplin's physical remains of his body were stolen shortly after to be then resold to his family. The body got recovered, but the grave is now protected by 2 meters of concrete. They have also installed a sensor that makes a high-pitched sound when you approach it. This is astounding because I'm alone here. No one else is here. Usually there are always people at the graves of celebrities, but here everything is quiet and calm. We are now at the shore of Lake Geneva in the rather cute and small town of Montreux, where the most famous Freddie Mercury monument is located. Initially, the monument was meant to be put up in London, but the public refused, so it was put up here, in one of Freddie Mercury's favorite towns. The band bought a studio here, located in the Casino building, when an expo called Queen Studio Experience has recently opened. 6 Queen's albums were recorded here, including songs like A Kind of Magic, Under Pressure and The Show Must Go On. You can also enjoy Freddie's authentic stage costumes, handwritten lyrics sheets, the band instruments and Scrabble, which the band members love to play while making their album. So, if you ever decide to visit Montreux, make sure you pop in, since the entrance is free anyways. My main goal in Switzerland was to visit its most popular mountain, the Matterhorn. First, I had to leave my car in the nearby town. After a 20 minutes train ride, you end up in Zermatt, the closest village to the Matterhorn peak. Cars are not allowed here, so these electric vehicles become your only option to commute. And horse carriages, of course. We aren't done with trains yet. We need to take one more train to get even closer to the mountain. Just listen, a train that takes you up in the mountains. That's priceless. Well, there we are. This is it. So, the sun has set, the last train has already left, but I don't worry, as this is part of my plan. I'm staying right here for the night and have everything I need. My tent, my sleeping bag, warm clothes and some food, including old bread or muesli for breakfast. But most importantly, a large aperture lens, as I'm spending the night here for 2 things that I love most: shooting the night sky and the sunrise. I hope it will be worth in the morning, but now a couple of words about this mountain. Actually, I don't really have much to say about this mountain other than that it's incredible and that you might have seen it somewhere. Yep, it's that Toblerone mountain, one of the most famous Swiss chocolate manufacturers. The Matterhorn is considered to be one of the most beautiful and iconic peaks in the world because of its pyramidal form and sides facing the 4 compass points. Spending a night here is a dream of many photographers, of course including mine, and I'm about to fulfill it. My camera was shooting all night until the battery died. Let's see what came out of it. Needless to say, it was a splendid morning, as any morning in the mountain. But the morning at the foot of the Matterhorn reflecting in the lake is an emotion for a lifetime. And now the unexciting part. For you, the story will end on a beautiful note. But for me, it's just beginning, as I need to get back down, one way or another. I don't know how. Pretty damn beautiful here, right? It's beautiful everywhere, but I still can't get used to it. I just checked my odometer and realized that I had traveled 7,000 kilometers since the start of my European trip. This is nuts. And I think it's time to go home. Although I don't want to. It is really a great country. If you decide to visit, prepare for its views and hefty spending to see them. But it's worth visiting Switzerland, not only for the views, but for the tranquility, high-quality service and excellent roads. Here, tranquility is everywhere. Honestly, I find it harder and harder to be amazed by something, but Switzerland did it. Even a week after the shoot, I still take pictures, stop in awe of the meadows, which I have seen dozens of times, and they still amaze me. This is great. This country is definitely in my top 10. If you have never been here, do come and visit. It's absolutely worth it. And travel more, guys, and you won't be disappointed. I mean, just look at this. These meadows and train... Yeah, I was right.